Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
Brandon Crow watching from Hockey Canada. Writes in and he says, my wife and her two sisters all played NCAA Division I hockey. They attribute it to waiting around that chute as kids and using those prairie oysters as hockey puck. Shooting them for the dog. Here's
Bingo!
one. All the raw testicles that I collected one day, I put them in a margarine container. Remember the old Imperial margarine that had the purple crowns around it? I put them all in there, and I took them to a party, a bush party. You've been there, Moose. You weren't at that one, but you've been to them. And I was going to cook them. I was going to cook them and make people eat them and not tell them what they were till after. But it didn't matter because Philip Kenyon took one, popped it in his mouth, crunched it raw. And he was smiling, and the blood ran down just like this.
And he knew what it was?
I will never forget. He knew what it was. Philip Kenyon.
That was Fear Factor before there was Fear Factor with Joe Rogan.
I know. Beer might have been involved. But the next time that we're driving to Montana, I'll show you exactly where it is, because a lot of stuff went down at that site. A lot of stuff. I'm not going to go any further, but just remind me later. I'll tell you about the bikers that were on their way back from Sturgis from the rally that stopped at our party.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Good morning, Rod Squad.
Maybe tomorrow I'll tell you guys about the big game that I went to in San Antonio with Snoop Dogg. Remember that one, Clark? The Lakers and Spurs? Snoop Dogg and I went, Bob.
How about that?
Snoop Dogg was sitting courtside. I was up in the nosebleeds, but we were in the arena at the same time. I was there with him.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much, Rick Regan. Welcome inside your favorite daytime sports talk show coming at you live. Listen up. Instructions right out of the gate. I've just been informed that we are live on Game Plus Television, but in the USA only, not in Canada. My apologies. Don't blame me. But hey, I'm in the mood to have some fun today. 902-518-3033 is the number to text. Wherever you're watching in the United States of America, as we head into Memorial Day weekend, would you mind picking up the phone, if it's safe to do so, and texting us your locale, your 411, your 20, as the truckers say? 902-518-3033. Where are you watching from in the USA on Game Plus Television? We're also on radio, WQEE Atlanta. We're Atlanta's NHL station, but there's not going to be a lot of NHL talk today. I don't think. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And also podcast and streaming. Darren Moose DuPont joins us from the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. What the hell? I thought you got it backwards.
Dallas Stars tell.
No, maybe you don't. Maybe you don't. How about? Are you a Dallas Stars fan now?
I am today.
Why not?
What did I tell you? Right? You cheer for the teams that are treating you well, and hey, they survived one more day. It's good that we have more hockey.
Well, how about this? He can't help himself. He jumped right into it. And Brien Ray, host of Dallas Stars television broadcasts on Bally Sports, will be with us in hour one. And then in hour two, our director of scouting, Craig Smith, is going to be with us. Producer Clark issues an apology. He said all the CFL people are working because it's a busy weekend in the Canadian Football League. 4 preseason games. And I got to tell you something. Can I just, before we go any further, because it is the Rod Pedersen Show. It's not Sports Center. I've had a few media people say to me recently, Rod, you're the envy of everybody in the business. And I said, oh, how's that? And they said, well, you really got life by the nards down there. Doing your show live for 2 hours every day, and you're not traveling. You're not wearing yourself into the ground. You got weekends off. And I'm like, well, thank you for noticing that. It was only 34 years of the business to figure that out. It's the old bull and the young bull story. And I'm now the old bull. You, Darren, are the young bull. And maybe one day you'll listen to the old bull, but you're starting to. As you've said, you're starting to listen to the old bull. And if you're not familiar with the old bull and the young bull story, ask your dad or Google it, because we got to move on. This is a sports talk show. Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director George? We got a lot of really good football stuff coming up today. Trust me. But first, we will open with the quick six show topics, because that's what we do here every day. Number one, Joe Pavelski scored on a power play at 3:18 of overtime, and the Dallas Stars won their Western Conference Final tilt 3-2 over the Vegas Golden Knights Thursday night. The win means the Stars avoided a sweep. Jason Robertson also scored twice for his first career multi-goal playoff game for the Dallas Stars. Captain Jamie Benn, been there, done that, missed the game after being suspended too by the NHL for cross-checking. I'm just going to throw this in because it was in the sports update from the Canadian press. Canada is off to the semifinals at the World Hockey Championship. Tyler Toffoli scored late in the third in a 4-1 victory over defending champion Finland. The Canadians will next play Latvia on Saturday, while the U.S. takes on Germany. So I don't care a lick. I don't give two squirts of sweat for the World Hockey Championship. I never have. I'm sorry. If you guys are playing now, you should have been playing in the regular season. Tyler Toffoli, Milan Lucic, instead of watching the Florida Panthers on TV. I don't care about the world. So back to the Dallas-Vegas series. Here's what I'm putting to you, Moose. You called it. Everybody's excited that you called it, that Dallas has extended this. Should Vegas be worried?
No, they shouldn't be worried. I thought they played well enough to win, too. Dallas had their backs against the wall. No, they shouldn't be worried. I mean, look, this series has always been tight. This is Dallas getting the overtime, monkey off their back and winning one in overtime, too. But, look, it's still got to come back from 3-0 down in the series. And that's going to be incredibly tough. And you don't have Jamie Benn again. In Game 5, and you're going back home to Vegas. So I think they shouldn't be worried. If they lose again, though, I think the knees will start knocking a little bit.
Well, that's what brings us to point two. That's the thing about this show, man. It bangs, it moves, it slaps. Point two. It reminds me of this. Derek White had 24 points, including 6 3-pointers. Helping lead the charge as the Boston Celtics dominated the Miami Heat 110-97 in Game 5 to extend the Eastern Conference Finals. Marcus Smart had 23 points and 5 steals. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown finished with 21 points as the Celtics claimed their second straight win and trimmed Miami's series lead to 3-2. We're not going to go any further into this. Have you noticed? We're on Game Plus television in USA only today and on the radio in Atlanta. There's enough people in this country talking about the NBA. You don't need me talking about it. So we're moving on to point three. That's the thing. You know that ad agency guy, Darren, last week that when you were here, was it 2 weeks ago now, that just said, why would anybody watch your show? They don't care about hockey in Florida. What do you talk about? Who are you? What's your deal? I said, just watch the show, buddy, and you'll find out why everybody loves it. So now he is. And guess what? He's texting me every day. Hi, Don. He gets it. Well, he's starting to get it. Point three, former NFL All-Pro wide receiver Antonio Brown suited up in practice for the Albany Empire on Thursday as he prepares to make his debut in the National Arena League on Saturday. Brown was said to have showed up with about 20 minutes left in the 2-hour practice before warming up and running only one route, catching a short pass from quarterback Roland Rivers. I don't know who Roland Rivers is. I wouldn't know him if he came up and kicked me in the knees, but I love his name. Roland Rivers at quarterback, 1st and 10 from the Albany 20-yard line. I've never heard of the National Arena League. Okay, my mind just went 18 different roads. So, Moose, how do you feel about Antonio Brown playing this weekend in something called the National Arena League?
I'm still stuck on Roland Rivers, man, and that CCR song's in my head.
Me too. Me too.
Rolling down the river, right?
River.
How great is that?
God. His
Perfect.
parents were clearly CCR fans.
Big
Continue.
time. Well, you know what? I think it's interesting. Like how all in is Antonio Brown? Like he's one of these guys that I'm in, but I'm only in on my terms, right? I'm in, but it's on my terms. I guess he owns the team, so he can do what he wants. But to show up, with 20 minutes left in practice, what's the rest of the team looking like, and how are they treating this guy? And is he going to be involved in team meetings, and is he going to know the playbook, or is he just going to go in the huddle and say, "Hey, Roland, I'm doing a post route, hit me. Okay, I'm doing this, hit me." And what are they going to do? He's the owner. If you don't throw him the ball, you're going to get cut. So I don't know. I'm going to be curious. I don't know if I'm going to go out of my way to try and find the broadcast, but I'll be Googling and searching and trying to find out what he did, how it went. Are there any highlights? I'll be intrigued.
Rolling. Yeah, man. From the audience, Conrad writes in and says, "Love me some Football Friday." Yeah, me too. These days are special. And again, wherever you're watching from in the United States on television, would you mind I don't ask for much. Send us a text, 902-518-3033. If you're listening on the radio in Georgia, watching on television all across the US of A, or on streaming, would you please write us and do me a favor, please? From Ryan in Toronto, he says, "Football Friday is always a blast. Here we go." From Patrolman Pete in Winnipeg, he says, "I'm pumped for the weekend. CFL preseason, NHL playoffs, Memorial Cup, CEBL debut in Winnipeg. Woo!" Moose, I had the sense that people were just on the edge of their seats. And the poll question today for our friends at Key Auto Group has to do with that Arena League story there, the National Arena League. Do you think that Antonio Brown will ever play again in the National Football League? By the way, get a newer pre-owned vehicle that fits you at Key Auto Group. They will treat you right every time, and it's all just a click away at keyautogroup.ca. Trust me, there's a 4-game slate in the CFL preseason. We'll get to that probably in the next segment. Maybe here if we have time. We have time. But on this National Arena League, I had maybe he's watching right now. Ryan in Saratoga, New York said he didn't even know about the Cam Newton story with the Albany Empire, except for watching our show. Even the Albany News wasn't on it, which, by the way, Chris Sanford, are you watching right now? He lived almost 30 years in Albany. We are Albany's news source, the Rod Pedersen Show. I'm going to vote no that Antonio Brown's done. He's won his Super Bowl. He's made his tens of millions of dollars, if not more. I'm going to say no. I think they're done with Antonio Brown. I know I'm done with Antonio Brown. As a certified mental health coach, recovery coach, I'll say this. He exhibits signs of having significant mental health issues. But I'm not a doctor. I'm not licensed to say what he has. Or he might just be a complete jerk. There's that. There is that. Being a jerk is no excuse for having mental illness, or having a mental illness is no excuse for being a jerk, however you want to say it. But I think the NFL's done with AB. For instance, you don't call out the legends like he called out Tom Brady. For me, that was really when I finished my support of Antonio Brown. What are you doing, man? This guy went to the wall for you. He stood up for you. He won you a Super Bowl. He got you a damn job in Tampa Bay, and you're going to turn around and say these things about him and snicker at his divorce? I'm done with AB, and I feel the NFL is too. How do you feel?
I couldn't agree more. I think the NFL is done with Antonio Brown. When you saw what he did in Tampa, walking off the field like that, with Tom Brady on that team, with Bruce Arians, who I think is fairly highly respected on that team, to act like that and leave like that, and then have the post-NFL days, in the media and on social media like that, I don't think any team wants to bring him into their organization and risk disrupting anything. He's a great talent. He has been a great talent, but nobody is good enough to overcome acting like that and the risk that goes along with it. Unless your team is so far in the toilet and you have nowhere to go but up, that's the only way I might bring him in. But any team that has any sort of character or any culture at all, I wouldn't be touching him at all.
No, my brother, the Cowboy, says in life you get about 3 chances. And once those 3 chances are gone, you're done. And he's done with you. I'm done with AB. And I know we talk a lot about my history and stuff, but I never walked out of the broadcast booth in the middle of a game or in the middle of the show. I was never late for work. Shoot, my last drunk, part of the problem was I showed up for work. I'd have been better off not showing up. You know what I mean? And so my problems were different than what AB's are, but he's still got problems. By the way, from the audience, WQEE Rock chiming in. That is Ryan O'Radio. He says, Football Friday, RP show. John Ohm says, I agree with Dupes. Where's the respect, AB, for your other teammates? From Allie. She says, you know where I'm watching from, Rod? Yes, I do. Texarkana. She says, by the way, I think they're all done with him. This is from a Steelers fan. Dale in Winnipeg. Barazook says, I'm loving the start. Great as always. Keep it up, crew. Hell of a show. Signed, Dale and Jack. From Jen at the Four Seasons, she says, good morning, everyone. AB is just drama. No way he'll play again. And from Swerve in Calgary, he says the Stampeders should sign him. They could use him. One thing, Nelson Hackowich, our VP of Sim Events, says, you know, Chris Jones. We'll give him a look up north. And by the way, I'm just kind of delaying this opening segment because I want to spend way more time on the Canadian Football League when we come back into the second segment. I don't want to rush it here. And here's why. In the break, if you want, go to rodpeterson.com right now and read my Friday commentary, which airs on Sask Radio and coming soon to Alberta, by the way, I understand. If you're going to bet on the CFL preseason, I got some oceanfront property in Arizona you might want to buy.
How about that?
I mean, come on. But we're going to play the CFL Pick'em, Moose and I, when we come back. We're going to look at all 4 games. I almost should put on the Bet Regal crown, which I'm looking at. You know where it is, Moose. It's adorning our line A. I'm trying to think, how the hell am I going to get this back to Canada? But I figured it out. From Farmer in Saskatchewan, and I know who that is, Adam from Theodore. He says, I'm watching the rain come down and loving it. Just finished seeding. Hey, the plant is in Theodore, Saskatchewan. Congratulations. So everybody's celebrating. How about that? Seeding's done. That's a very big day. But I found out how I'm going to have to go to a hat store for the first time in my life. Or maybe a country western wear store and buy a hat box, Moose. And I'll have to drop the crown into it and carry it like the queen. Like literal. Hey, imagine walking into a hat store. Do you have any boxes that are suitable for crowns? Excuse me, sir. What? Never mind. It's a yes or no question. So, yeah, we're going to play the CFL preseason pick'em. When we come back, we're going to talk about the member. Bet Regal has odds for tonight's opener. Patrick Waugh versus John Keane. Quebec City versus Kamloops. Yeah, so we are just getting rolling. rolling down the river. The quarterback of the Albany Empire. We just made him a freaking star, man. I know more about him than half the CFL quarterback. We'll be right back. We're live in the USA only on Game Plus Television today, WQEE Radio in Atlanta. Also a podcast and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Woody's RV World presents the Summer Football Road Trip, hosted by The Rod Peterson Show and Engelheim. Tickets now available at rodpeterson.com. Charter transport, accommodations at the beautiful Hotel Clique, June 23rd to 25th. All the details at rodpeterson.com.
Canadian Centre for Men and Families Alberta supports men through relationship turmoil and breakdown. Men face the realities of relationship breakdown in a way that is unique. These men need a safe place to belong and have meaningful conversations that help equip them to create a better future for themselves and their families. CCMF Alberta programs responsibly address the results of trauma on men's mental health. CCMF Alberta, because children need their fathers too.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult, because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Home of the Stanley Cup Finals, FLA Live Arena, broadcasting live from South Florida. It's the RP Show on Game Plus Television, YouTube Live, and WQEE Radio in Atlanta, where we are Atlanta's NHL show, and the Florida Panthers are Atlanta's NHL team. Moose joins us coming up. Brien Ray from the Dallas Stars television crew and our director of scouting, Craig Smith. How about this, Moose? They rallied. I asked, and they rallied. Hello from Prairie City, Illinois. It's Marge.
Hey,
Happy
Marge.
Football Friday. Yeah, hey, Marge. From Amarillo, Texas. Happy Football Friday, signed Jason, home of the Sod Poodles. Whoa.
How about that?
We got an issue here. There, I got it.
Uh-oh.
We're good. I think that's a baseball team. I'm not sure. I didn't have one of my monitors plugged in entirely. And we had more. Jason in North Dakota writes that he says, greetings and no hallucinations, streaming from cloudy 21-degree. Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? Noonan, North Dakota. Just returning from Estevan, had a coffee and a Gilmore, but no girls show. Paul Coffey and Doug Gilmore spoke at the Estevan Bruins banquet last night. Jim from Balgoni, Sask, glad you asked, writes in. He says, hello, RP Nation. It's a fantastic football Friday. Regina Riot ladies get it kicked off this weekend to add to the football madness. I like it. That's from Jim. Can you have Rick Regan on that one? There you go.
Hot damn.
Rick Regan, who is from Boca Raton, Florida, right here. How about that? The Regina Riot playing Canadian Elite Basketball League. 2 games tonight, Brampton versus Scarborough, Montreal versus Niagara. Before we get into the CFL preseason pick'em, which we're going to have some fun here on the Football Friday, I'm blaming soccer, okay? Soccer ruined it for everybody. And here's why. I told you earlier on this week at CFL.ca, they had all the games across the header, which most leagues do. But I couldn't tell where the games were. If the game's on top, if it says Sask, BC, 7 p.m. Mountain, Darren, who's the home team?
BC.
Sask, BC. No. I'm sorry. Not on the CFL website. Now, somebody went back and kicked some ass, and they changed all that. So now it is BC at Sask. They have all the right. You go to the CEBL website. I have no idea where these games are. If it's left versus right, as you're looking at it, Brampton, Scarborough. Where's the game, Darren? Where is it?
Does it say versus?
No, it doesn't. It says the two teams.
I don't know. How am I supposed to know now? Like, it gets so confusing on these websites.
Historically known. And the thing is, soccer's backwards.
Yeah.
You ever watch MLS on TSN? I'm on the verge of dropping an F-bomb. They screwed it up for everybody. So now these young kids that came up in Canada that play soccer and follow soccer, because I'm not one of them, soccer screwed it up for everybody. So I don't know where these games are, so I just write down the teams, and you figure it out. You go figure it out. Hey, Chris Sanford. He's from the Bronx. Rod, they've been playing arena football in Albany for years. That's from Chris Sanford. You know Chris. You met him. We are Albany's news source, the Rod Pedersen Show. I had no idea. So before we jump into that CFL pick'em, for those that joined us late, Antonio Brown is the owner, I guess, one of the owners of the Albany Empire Arena League team, and he's going to play tomorrow. And he showed up for practice with 20 minutes to go in it of a 2-hour workout, ran one route, and declared himself fit to play. Well, of course he would. He's the owner. It reminds me, and I don't want to say where or the league or whatever. I think you know this story, but our team that I was working with brought in a mental strength coach. It's a long time ago. And we're in a banquet room, a convention room in a hotel on the road. And all the teams sitting there watching, right? This guy was good. And our owner came in 15 minutes late. The session had already started. He came in late. And then he left with 15 minutes to go in the session. And the mental strength coach turned to our coach after and said, who was that guy? He goes, that's our owner. And he goes, your problems start right there. Maybe show up ahead of time. Maybe stay till it's done. So I could see Antonio Brown being that type of owner. Do we think the Albany Empire will win with Antonio Brown as their owner? I do not. Maybe that would be a better poll question today. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it would be. But no, there's no chance. No chance you're going to win when that's how you're conducting yourself. I mean, to him, it's just a game. It's just fun and games. But for these guys, it's like, we're trying to make a living here and maybe make it to the NFL or a higher level of pro ball. And he just wants to walk in, catch one pass, then suit up on Sunday. I don't know. It just seems like a gimmick to me.
It's almost, well, it is a gimmick. But, yeah, you said, you're going to be watching. You said you're going to see how they made out. So, but as far as the NFL goes, I think AB is just so talented. That's why he's survived so long, because you can get a long ways just on talent and still be a dork. Trust me, I know. Eventually your luck runs out, however, and you need to change, and AB ain't there yet. By the way, on this home team thing, Swerve in Calgary writes in and he says, yep, I ruined many parlays with backwards home teams. That's a serious thing. Randy from Winnipeg says, good morning. Bottom team or team to the right are the home team, I think. LOL. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm turning into that guy. You know?
Well, that's how it's always been. It's always been team at team. Top at bottom,
but no,
left at right.
Yes.
You know?
Chris Sanford watching from Coconut Creek, Florida. What a great chat with him today. Hey, he also mentioned, this was at the gym this morning where people are starting to talk about the Miami Heat a lot more. Yeah. They're starting to get worried because they had a 3-0 lead, which has been dwindled down to 3-2, and Game 6 is on Saturday in Miami. Anyways, bear with me. In case I run out of time, guys, tell you that Bet Regal has odds posted for tonight's Memorial Cup opener at the Sandman Center in Kamloops, BC. Patrick Roua's Quebec Remparts taking on the host Kamloops Blazers. Don't look it up. Are you looking it up? Because I'm going to put this to you, Moose.
No.
Are you looking it up?
I'll tell you later what I got on my screen, but actually I'll tell you now.
Okay.
So when you were giving me the gears about the Peterborough Petes, and it's been up here all week just waiting for you to bring up the Memorial Cup again. I got the rosters of the Petes, the Remparts. They've been on my other monitor here all week. So I'm excited for the games, man.
If you put a gun to my head, I couldn't name one Peterborough Pete. I couldn't. But that don't matter. All I'm going to ask you is, who do you think's favored tonight in the Memorial Cup opener at our exclusive betting partner, Bet Regal? Because they do have odds posted. This is the National Major Junior Hockey Championship, which opens tonight.
I think the Quebec Rempart are favored in the game tonight. Really?
The Blazers minus 0.5. Just want to say. And as I was telling you before we went to air, the Golden Girl, by the way, Chris, that's what we're referring to Serena as, and she quite likes it. She goes, good, we're going to have hockey to watch tonight. The Memorial Cup opener on the NHL Network. Okay, let's get it going. We're going to play CFL Pick'em for Bet Regal, our exclusive betting partner. This is going to be fun. Did I write it down? Tonight's game is on national television, TSN. It is the Ottawa Red Blacks taking on the Montreal Alouettes. In Ottawa, Nick Fatty Arbuckle starting at quarterback for the Red Blacks. Caleb Evans for the Montreal Alouettes. I'll jump into the pool first. I'm going to say Ottawa's got to win because they gotta. Brand new coach. It's a preseason game. I know that. But if it's tied or close late, they're going to pull out all the stops, probably put their ones back in, Ottawa to win at home. So I'm picking Ottawa to win. What do you think?
I'll take Montreal just to be the fly in the ointment. New coach, new quarterback. I'll take Montreal.
Oh, yeah, there's that. But it's a road game for Montreal. Right. Saturday, Toronto at Hamilton, the battle of the QEW. We don't know how many reps Bo Levi Mitchell of the Ticats, my good friend, or Chad Kelly of the Argos are going to get, but Hamilton has to put a good step forward, too. Basically comes down to who needs, for cosmetic purposes, to win the game more, and I'll say Hamilton. So I'll pick Hamilton to beat Toronto. You?
I'll take the Argonauts. I think they want to prove that they're still the champs, even if it's preseason.
How about that? The Winnipeg Blue Bombers visit the Edmonton Elks this weekend. 3 consecutive years the Blue Bombers have been in the Grey Cup. These preseason games mean nothing to them, whereas Edmonton hasn't won at home since Donald Trump was the president of the United States. Edmonton needs to win, and for that reason, they will win this weekend. What say you?
I'll take Winnipeg. We're just going to keep taking the opposite sides of the coin here, and I like it. I quite like it. I'll take Winnipeg. They're fine-tuned. They're ready to go, and they won't have any problems.
And the BC Lions are at the Saskatchewan Roughriders to close out week 1 of the preseason in the Canadian Football League. I got Riders to win. For all those reasons I've just said, the other teams have to win. The Roughriders have to win. For cosmetic purposes, they'll pull out all the stops to win, and that's why. In a game that doesn't matter, but they need to win. There's a lot of pressure on them. Let's call it a must-win for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the preseason, because it might be. I ain't joking.
Here's why I'm taking BC. Is Vernon Adams going to play, and how much is he going to play? He needs to prove that he's ready to take over from Nathan Rourke and keep the fan base happy. A lot of pressure early in the preseason to get that fan base excited. So I think BC wins.
Okie dokie. By the way, Woody's RV World presents the Summer Football Road Trip hosted by the RP Show and Engelheim. You can purchase your tickets now at rodpeterson.com. The trip includes charter transportation from Engelheim, June 23rd from Calgary, so Regina to Calgary and back June 25th. 2-night hotel accommodations at our host hotel, Hotel Cleat Calgary Airport, with complimentary breakfasts, exclusive pre- and post-game parties hosted by yours truly, and a ticket to the Rough Riders at the Stampeders on June 24th. The trip now, stopping in Saskatoon to pick up Rider Priders in the largest city in Saskatchewan. And if you buy an RV right now at Woody's RV, any of their locations, they'll do a BOGO for you. All you got to do is buy one trip. They'll pick up the second ticket. So we're going to load that stadium. We're going to make it Mick Mosaic Stadium again. June 24th, Sask at Calgary. Moose, see you in hour 2.
See you then.
Brien Ray joins us next from Bally Sports. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus television network. USA only today, I'm told. Also live on WQEE Radio in Atlanta, podcast and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Home of the Stanley Cup Finals. One half of it anyways, FLA Live Arena. We're broadcasting from beautiful South Florida, but we're talking hockey now. Pausing this Football Friday discussion for a little stick and puck. Joe Pavelski scored on a power play at 3:18 of overtime, and the Dallas Stars staved off elimination, beating Vegas 3-2 Thursday night. The win means the Stars avoided a sweep. Game number 5 goes Saturday in Sin City. And let's welcome in Brien Ray, host of Dallas Stars TV broadcast on Bally Sports. Hey, Brien, good to see you, man. Good to see the season still going. I'll tell you what, that was one hell of a hockey game last night. I watched it. How'd it look from your vantage point?
Listen, anytime that you find out there's one more playoff game you get to be involved in, it's obviously a good night. But yeah, you know what, just from a hockey fan perspective, that was a good playoff game. It went to overtime, but it didn't go until 4 in the morning. It's a one-goal decision. There were great looks on both sides. It felt like there were some chances off the rush, some breakaway looks, so it was kind of up and down with some pace to it. Both goalies had some big saves. Like, that's what you want a playoff game to look like, especially at this point in the playoffs. And obviously for Dallas, okay, you had to get one. You've got one. Now you have to get another one. And that's purely what the focus is at this point, if you're looking at things from the Stars' perspective.
Was it a rallying cry at all? Please tell me what the coaches and players were saying going into Game 4 to not have Jamie Benn, and then said afterwards coming out of it. There had to be something to that, I would think.
I do think it is a bit of a rallying cry, and Joe Pavelski actually commented on it after that game last night. Go back to round 1 when Pavelski was actually knocked out of the first-round series by Matt Dumba of Minnesota. The Stars locker room, they leaned into the, listen, we want Joe Pavelski to have a chance to play more playoff games. And so they kind of used that as a rallying cry to get that first-round series win so Pavelski could return. I do think there's a bit of the same mantra going on right now in the Stars locker room. They would like for Jamie Benn to have one last chance to compete in this series. And in order to do that, they had to win last night, so check that box. Now they have to find a way to win in Saturday on Vegas to do that. But I'll give you a second rallying cry in more of the comical sense that the Stars have leaned into. Pete DeBoer, after they went down 0-3, was asked about how do you eat an elephant in one bite at a time, which I think was a football player, an NFL player that sort of came up with that quote. So DeBoer told that reporter, that's pretty good. He may use that. The Stars' social media ran with it. People started throwing out after the game last night, one bite at a time to eat this elephant. There's the first bite in order to eat the elephant. So if you're not rallying to get your captain back out of the suspension, you're rallying to try and eat this elephant one bite at a time, which the Stars are obviously trying to do.
Well, you can't win 4 games at once. You can win 1 game at once, however. And I loved what Jamie Benn said about the 2-game suspension, or the actual infraction, where he said, if I've read it correctly, he was, it's unfortunate his jaw ran into my stick. Kind of what he said, didn't he? I was talking to the Vegas people. They thought it should have been 3 games. I thought 2 games were very harsh. I did. What did you think about the situation?
First of all, he said he didn't want to use his stick. He wished he didn't use his stick as the landing point when he fell over. I believe that is what the defense counsel presented forward when he was asked about it. Look, we're talking about a playoff series. We're talking about call it a controversial hit, call it a dangerous play, whatever. The worst thing you can do is ask the opinion of the 2 actual fan bases, because neither side is going to have a rational look. Of course, Vegas fans want a 3-game suspension. That would essentially knock him out of the series. But look, it didn't look good. There's a cross-checking motion as he's going down, and there's so much attention paid to the neck and head area in today's sports world. You can't have that happen anymore. And when it does happen, especially on that area of the body, it is going to be a stiffer punishment. I think if that contact happens at the shoulder or the ribs or the lower back, maybe it's only a one-game suspension. And I'm with you. I was surprised that they gave the second game. I thought it was going to be a one-game suspension. But when you're involving the head and neck area and you see the actual cross-checking motion, that's pretty clear evidence of what occurred. So the second game surprised me, but in no way did I think it was a rigged job or something was at play. I thought it was harsh, but I understand why they did it, and I certainly am not going to argue against a 2-game suspension.
I agree with you, Brien, and that doesn't surprise me. You're my kind of guy, but I don't know why we debate this discipline, supplementary discipline, because it makes no sense. Like we've often said, do they spin a wheel? Do they throw a dart? What do they do to come up with these lengths of suspension and so forth? But I'm also with you. Don't talk to a fan or even somebody from the team, because you're not going to get a non-biased. Like I talked to a guy from Vegas the other day, and I said, what did you think about the suspension? He looked, his glasses were down on his nose. He's like, should have been 3. I'm like, of course you're going to say that. But, Brien, who, if you had to have a team-nominated rep for the Conn Smythe, who's been the best Dallas Star to date? Because I feel like that's a bit of a discussion.
It's a fun discussion at this point. And I'll give you one last thought on the suspension since you mentioned it. Look, if Vegas fans thought it should have been 3 and they don't like it, and Dallas fans thought it should have been 1 and they don't like it, clearly the mediator did the correct job if both sides are unhappy with the call. That's a very simple way to look at it. As for your question on the Conn Smythe, it's probably Rope Hintz. From the Dallas side, he's sort of been that front runner for the Dallas Stars best nominee. Joe Pavelski, I think, is right behind him because he may not have the number of points that Rope Hintz has, but he does have the timely goals. And I do think the radar around Miro Heiskanen is getting brighter and brighter the more he plays in the playoffs and people watch him. And, the Conn Smythe, look, we can talk about a Dallas Stars nominee. The bottom line is it's Sergei Bobrovsky and the rest of the field right now, if we're going to talk about that award the way things are going. It's like Tiger Woods in his prime. Do you want Tiger or the field? Do you want Bobrovsky or the field if we're going to talk Conn Smythe Trophy?
By the way, Allie, watching, you know her from Texarkana. She writes in, she says, proud of my boys, no matter what happens, go Stars. It just felt like they got back to the Dallas Stars that we know last night in Game 4. So for Game 5, last point, in a minute, what is the key to a win to keep this thing going Saturday night in the Fortress?
Well, it felt like Dallas did a much better job of getting interior, at least to me. And they actually, I thought they challenged Adin Hill to make saves. I thought Adin Hill was Vegas's best player last night. Vegas's D-core is so darn good that you don't have to do a ton of world beating if you're a goaltender. Adin Hill, I thought, rose to that challenge, but there were some juicy rebounds given up at times in that game last night. If Dallas can continue to put that pressure on them, those rebounds, I think, are going to be there. Can you get interior on that Vegas defensive shell to try and bang home those second chance goals? Because when you're on the road in Vegas, you don't have last change. They dictate the matchup. So the goals will need to get a little uglier for the Dallas Stars, I think, if they're going to find a way to extend this series again. And that starts with getting interior on that Vegas shell.
Great analysis, Brien Ray. Always appreciate you helping us out. Enjoy the hockey and keep it going.
Same to you. Congrats on your cardiac cats. And who knows, maybe we're talking again here soon. We'll find out how it goes.
Wouldn't that be something? Brien Ray joining us from Bally Sports Dallas Stars TV. We'll be right back with an audience takeover after this, plus a sports update. We're live on Game Plus television. USA only today, I'm told, on Game Plus. Also WQEE Radio in Atlanta, podcast and streaming.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Woody's RV World presents the Summer Football Road Trip, hosted by The Rod Pedersen Show and Engelheim. Tickets now available at rodpedersen.com. Charter transport, accommodations at the beautiful Hotel Clique, June 23rd to 25th. All the details at rodpedersen.com.
Canadian Centre for Men and Families Alberta supports men through relationship turmoil and breakdown. Men face the realities of relationship breakdown in a way that is unique. These men need a safe place to belong and have meaningful conversations that help equip them to create a better future for themselves and their families. CCMF Alberta programs responsibly address the results of trauma on men's mental health. CCMF Alberta, because children need their fathers too.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Okay, off day, another one for the Florida Panthers after finishing off Carolina in a sweep, and now they await their opponents in the Stanley Cup Final. Tickets are now, by the way, from what I understand, on sale for the Stanley Cup. I guess I call this audience takeover, don't I? So just let me jump into a sports update, then I'll get to what you people are saying today. The Toronto Blue Jays and Minnesota Twins open a 3-game series tonight at Target Field. Jays will play a team outside their division for the first time since May 14th. After going 2-9 against AL East opponents over the last 11 games. 8:10 Eastern first pitch there. Second round actions underway at the PGA Tour's Charles Schwab Challenge in Fort Worth. England's Harry Hall was the leader entering today's round after opening at 8 under 62. Canadians Brooke Henderson and Matty Zurich are back in action today at the LPGA Tour's match play event in Las Vegas. Henderson takes a 1-1 record into her final round robin match against South Korea's Jung-Un Lee 6. And CFL preseason action continues in Ottawa, where the Red Blacks are getting set to welcome the Montreal Alouettes tonight. Both teams start 2023 with different head coaches. Bob Dice in Ottawa, Jason Maas in Montreal. Touche. Make some noise. TSN's got it. The sports update is for Landmark Cinemas, coming to theaters June 2nd. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Miles Morales returns for the next chapter of the Oscar-winning Spider-Verse saga, an epic adventure that will transport Brooklyn's full-time friendly neighborhood Spider-Man across the multiverse to join forces with Gwen Stacy. I'd be more impressed if Spider-Man was joining forces with Gwen Stefani. When's that movie coming out?
How about that? Hell yes.
Yeah, buddy. By the way, Jason Bazaraba is the winner of this week's contest. Our gal Morgan pulled Jason's name out of the drum. Jason Bazaraba in Winnipeg. You're going to Landmark Cinemas. Thanks for playing. Going to the movies on Landmark Cinemas and concession coupons. I'd say on us, but they're the ones paying for it. Where do I start? From Marlon Bruce III writes in, he says, the BC Lions are not playing at BC Place September 11th because Jay-Z's wife, Queen Bee, Beyonce, will be performing, FYI. And he says, Argonauts repeat. Jen at the Four Seasons says, not football related, but the Regina Red Sox home opener tomorrow, hopefully not postponed to rain. Gotcha. John in Edmonton says, Rod, thoughts on ESPN switching from traditional TV to just streaming? I'd have to look into it. I can't see them going off cable television, John, so let's slow our roll on that. John also says, by the way, so far it looks like Calgary is not going to get the money for the arena from the government. Advanced polling numbers show that. Yeah, we try to stay away from politics here as much as possible, as you should know. Jen goes on to say that would be an epic comeback for the Dallas Stars. I don't think that will happen, but you never know. It's playoffs. We got this far. It's a second season for a reason. By the way, producer Clark, but I don't know if he's going to win our playoff draft or not, but he's going to beat me because he's got all the same players as me, plus more. Last minute of play in hour one.
How about that?
Jeff, the Stamps fan, has his knickers in a knot when I said Rider fans are going to turn the Calgary Stadium into Mick Mosaic Stadium June 24th with our fan bus, courtesy Woody's RV in Engelheim. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, you can dream, Rod, but Stamps fans have already been louder than Rider fans at McMahon. I think you should go get your hearing checked, brah. John Ohm says the Blue Bombers are addressing veteran-heavy lineup for the preseason game in Edmonton, taking all 4 other quarterbacks for the preseason opener. Now, why would they do that? John Ohm says Mike O'Shea's out to embarrass Chris Jones. Looks like. Ooh, we got some stuff to talk about next hour. Stick around here on Game Plus and WQE.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Selection, service, price, parts, and knowledge. That's the Woody's RV World difference. With 7 locations in Western Canada, there's always one nearby. Visit us today or at woodysrv.com. If adventure awaits, Woody's RV World is with you all the way.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Canadian Centre for Men and Families Alberta supports men through relationship turmoil and breakdown. Men face the realities of relationship breakdown in a way that is unique. These men need a safe place to belong and have meaningful conversations that help equip them to create a better future for themselves and their families. CCMF Alberta programs responsibly address the results of trauma on men's mental health. CCMF Alberta, because children need their fathers too.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat. Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Good morning, Rod Squad.
Maybe tomorrow I'll tell you guys about the game that I went to in San Antonio with Snoop Dogg. Remember that one, Clark? The Lakers and Spurs? Snoop Dogg and I went, Bob.
How about that?
Snoop Dogg was sitting courtside. I was up in the nosebleeds, but we were in the arena at the same time. I was there with him.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. It's hour 2 coming at you with some special broadcast info for you. Everybody's in a good mood because it's Friday. Here in America, we're working our way into Memorial Day weekend. We've had a check-in Friday. I used to do that on my old radio show. We're having a bit of a check-in Friday here on Game Plus Television. Darren Moose DuPont is with us. He is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, which is also the football capital of Canada. That is Saskatchewan, and he is a big Dallas Stars fan right now because his favorite team, the Toronto Maple Leafs, have hit the dust. I've got some great points that I want to get to here, but the broadcast note is this. We're on Game Plus Television, but only in the United States, in the 31 U.S. states. We put out a call. We set up the bat signal, asked people to write in wherever they're watching from today. And what did we get? Amarillo, Texas, Prairie City, Illinois, Redmond, Oregon, Coconut Creek, Florida. All coastal cities, interestingly enough. How about that? Brien in Beausejour, Manitoba writes in. He says, great show as always, RP Posse. Had to call an audible and switch over to YouTube. No RP show on Game Plus TV today. Not in Canada, but we do air normally on channel 1190B Bell MTS cable. I just had a massive brain cramp right there when I said 1190, because you know why. Maybe you don't. 1190
your first radio station?
CFSL. 1190 CFSL. I remember the first of a long string of bosses who gave me hell. This guy's name was Warren Todd, and he says, you need to say it 1190 CFSL because you're saying 1190 CFSL. You need to enunciate the CFSL. So what do you think I did?
You went full
on the radio that night.
Didn't you?
We've got your country covered. 1190 CFSL. That night. And he's like, good night. Yeah. CFSL.
That was our thing in broadcast school at WA. It was so much, not W, Not W. It's W. ABC. W. It's like, oh my gosh.
CJWW. So, yeah. The people were writing in from Alberta talking about the provincial election there and whether it means, however, the results will dictate a new arena for the Calgary Flames or not, and I'm not getting into that. Stephen in North Dakota writes in and says, politics don't trump sports on the RP show. I agree. I learned. A lot of people didn't learn a blinking thing in the pandemic. One thing I learned was keep politics out of anything that we do. My daily commentary, my columns, my television show, just no. Darren, if I start talking politics, punch me right between the eyes.
Bingo.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll take you out.
I got a football friend down here that you didn't meet. See, I didn't even get you into that segment of my friends here in South Florida, but guy's got a good football job down here. He's in that Chris Jones posse. And I'm not going to tell you which level of football he's at, but he goes, I got offered to go up and coach with the Edmonton Elks. Jones offered me this job. If I went up there for 6 months out of the year to make $80,000, my wife would punch me in the effing face. I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't do that.
Oh, no.
Yeah, maybe not.
A marriage counselor, I am not. Say what?
Yeah, maybe not a good idea for him to do that.
B. Henderson writes in. Is this where we're gonna go right off the ditch here? Which I'm okay with. B. Henderson writes in and says, sounds like a pig vomit Howard Stern situation. Do you know what B. Henderson's referring to? Because I do, but do you know?
No, I don't.
That was his program director at the radio station in New York. Howard's nickname for him was Pig Vomit.
Oh,
and the character, yeah, it's from his movie. There's so much of Howard Stern's career parallels with mine, really, except for the wage. But I heard him saying one time on the radio how he used to fight with his bosses all the time. And I had the same fights. And I'll give you an example. Howard said the general manager of the radio station, one of the ones he worked at, said, how come the newspaper wants to interview you all the time? How come you are getting these opportunities to do this? I run this place. I used to get that stuff all the time. And I would usually just sit. I'm sure Howard didn't say anything to him. Maybe he did. But I'm kind of at a point now where I'm not going to sit there and take it anymore because the general managers of the radio stations where I've worked, how come you get to do this? How come they're asking you to do that? I'm like, you already make all the money. You need the pub too? Because that's what I was thinking. But I didn't say it. I'm like, I don't know. What am I supposed to say?
Yeah. Meh. They asked.
Well, there's that too. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, by the way, Rod, I just had my hearing checked. I'm in the top 99 percentile. Good for you because I'm half deaf. At your age, congrats. From having headphones in my ear my entire life. Kevin the Medium's checked in and says, Kevin the Medium says, I just realized I didn't check in this morning. Good morning, RP peeps, from beautiful Airdrie, Alberta. It is beautiful. But that's the I can't do it anymore. Those bosses, they make all the money and they want to have their ass kissed too. I'm like, you got to pick one. We get to do the fun things, but you're paying me minimum wage. So what do you want? Because you can't have both. That conversation's coming. I think that's why I'm sitting here right now. Anyways, Wayne in Victoria, BC says, please don't talk politics, Rod. Thanks for saying that. No, I ain't going to do that. I am not going to do that. But I will say this before we jump back into the football, because I got some cool things to get to here. I would say it's been a pretty cool year. It's been a pretty cool run the last year and a half, 2 years. And a highlight of it was hanging out with Tom Cochran. I don't think you were in Calgary at that time. Were you with the show?
Not at that moment. I missed the Tom Cochran hangout.
Well,
Steve-O
no
too.
regrets. And, yeah, just hanging out with Tom Cochran. Need I say more? I mean, we could sit and talk about what we talked about, but I was in awe. And he could tell I was in awe. And it kind of made him uncomfortable because he was like, I'm just a normal dude. And he was just a normal dude. I thanked him for everything that he's done and being kind of the soundtrack to my life in a way with a career in sports. And he's like, I get it. Swerve in Calgary says, yep, being an unruly slave is/was my forte. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, bosses should be the most ridiculed individuals in any organization. Well, usually they are behind their back. But I kind of had enough of biting my tongue. I just can't anymore. Again, you make all the money. You need all this. You want to come hang out with Tom Cochran? I don't think he'd like you. You know what I mean? I should just stop. So I meant to get this. Two things. I didn't see what the new NFL kickoff rules are. And we'll get back around to the CFL in a second, but we covered that a lot. We played the CFL Pick'em for the preseason games this weekend. We did that. All right? I have more CFL topics, but Andy Reid, the Super Bowl champion Chiefs coach, has criticized the new NFL kickoff rules. Now, were these just proposed? Do you know? Or have they, in fact, changed the NFL kickoff rules? I'm not sure.
I believe they've changed the NFL kickoff rule. Any fair catch now puts the ball at the 25-yard line. So even if you fair catch it outside the end zone, you get the ball at the 25-yard line regardless. So on the kickoffs, there's no high kick coming down to the 5-yard line anymore, prompting a return. You can fair catch it, and I believe that's the biggest change.
Is that what he's upset about?
I think so.
Okay.
I think part of it is the big part of it is that it's really starting to, and it's another big step in eliminating kickoff returns and the special teams part of the game. We know it's so high violent and high collisions on special teams, but we're taking that away now. And this is just going to lead to more fair catches, more kicks through the end zone, less returns, less return touchdowns. And he's got a pretty good returner, too, so I can see why he'd be upset.
Well, yeah, but I watched the XFL championship, and they have their rule, which they had from the initial incarnation of the XFL, where the two lines are 10 yards off each other within 10 yards of the returner. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you'll never get it, so there's no point explaining it. But I don't know why the NFL doesn't go to that. Nobody gets hurt. They at least have returns. Everybody's happy. All I can think of, it's not their idea, so they don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Jeff, the Stamps fan, says the NFL just hates returns, don't they? Clearly they do. From Bombers 1985's, no, thank you, Jen. Jen has pointed out it's 11:11 Mountain, 1:11 Eastern. Take a moment, Moose, and visualize, and everybody for that matter, a positive outcome. The outcome that you'd like to see of the current struggle you're in. I've done it, and it works. Anyways, Bombers 1985, I'm guessing is watching in Winnipeg, says the NFL has totally taken special teams out of the game. Well, and this Jeff, the Stamps fan, we're here for an all-inclusive discussion here today, so I'm not going to fight with anything that anybody says, particularly him. He said, XFL kicking rules are so gimmicky. Well, you go against he's the staunch football guy, Jeff the Stamps fan. I feel like he played the game. 2, we kind of need to change things up here. We're going to change them for player safety, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to get into that. What I wanted to get into is Andy Reid beating the Philadelphia Eagles in the Super Bowl last year. Do you remember going into the Super Bowl in Arizona? That was one of the major storylines. The Kelsey brothers playing against each other, and various things, and obviously Jalen Hurts, the Hurts locker, which he ended up getting paid out of it despite losing, as you know. But all-time sports, I don't know what you would call it, sticking it where the sun don't shine. But that's one of them. Was it 13 years ago, Andy Reid was fired by the Philadelphia Eagles, and then to face him in the Super Bowl and beat their ass? I bet you Andy Reid has slept like a dead person all winter, just feeling so good. What's another example of somebody jamming it down somebody else's throat after the fact? Because there are a lot, but you'd have to sit down and you'd have to really sit down and think about it. Like, for instance, if Paul Maurice and the Florida Panthers were to beat the Winnipeg Jets in the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you're dealing with Andy Reid and the Eagles. Somebody tell me. Could be any league. And I know I'm really dropping that out, but that just came to me when I was going to the bathroom in the break. So I got to put some thought into that.
It's a great question. Not quite the same, but close as Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl after going to Tampa. You know, in that Tom versus Bill debate, it wasn't against the Patriots, so it's not quite the same.
Right.
But there's a little of that. He stuck it to Bill, really, by winning a Super Bowl without him right away. So there's that. There's got to be more, too.
I'm sorry. My mind's drifting. It happens this time of day, as you know. And great answer, by the way. But the only way would be for Tom to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That's what Andy Reid did. It was a major accomplishment to do that, and it was the same owner. Is that Jeffrey Luria? Is the owner of the Eagles? Same guy that fired him. He beat his ass in the Super Bowl. I can't even imagine how great that felt for Andy Reid. But I want to, two quick things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, B. Henderson says, no, Pomo only had a problem with the players, not the team. Sorry, brah. I got to disagree there. Paul Maurice wanted to quit coaching after Winnipeg, period. He never wanted to coach again. And by the way, the team didn't back him. He's the one that left. So don't tell me Paul Maurice doesn't have a problem with the Winnipeg Jets. Please. That's one. And two, think about this in the break. Might have to get Clark's Google fingers ready. A couple weeks ago, we had the question, what's the most iconic photo in the NHL's history? I came upon Ken Dryden leaning on his stick. That was with audience help. Yours was what? You refresh my memory.
Last game.
Gretzky's last game, right, in New York.
Yeah.
Right? And I promised and then I forgot, so I'm doing it today. What's the most iconic Canadian Football League photo of all time?
Ooh.
Think about that. Stop. Clark!
How about that?
Thank goodness his mic's not on the air.
Photo. No kidding. Google that one, Clark. Sheesh. Now I'm rattled. We'll be right back.
Take a break.
We'll be right back. Will we take a break? We'll be right back. We're live on Game Plus Television. USA only today. WQEE in Atlanta. Podcast and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
I gotta hit the beat. I gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
beat. I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Fridays are reserved for football, and that's what we do here on the RP Show. Boy, we got some great responses have come in. I'll read them before we bring the Moose back in. And I said, what was the most iconic photo in Canadian Football League history? People are picking on to that. I like it, even though we're not on the air in Canada today on Game Plus, but USA only. Thank you for picking it up on the streams, y'all. Sean in Vancouver writes in, he says, Tony Gabriel's catch in 1976. My dad still gets worked up about that one. Happy Football Friday, Rod Squad. I got a story about that. We can bring the Moose in. When I was sitting in the press box the other night with Jeff Chikrin, literally, that's like the most iconic video in CFL history. Jeff Chikrin goes, I was watching, I was 10. Like he was catching it. The way he told that story, it was so demonstrative. Sean. Uh-oh. What the heck?
What?
Sean in Saskatoon. This isn't. I don't understand it. He goes, hey, it's Sean Cozen here. I'm a lifelong Riders fan, but today it comes to an end. I'm sick of those sorry-ass losers.
Oh, no.
Whoa.
He goes, Regina, baby. I don't know what he's talking about. Clark, do you want to go? What the hell's this guy talking about? Would you mind going into the phone, 902-518-3033? Clark, what the hell's got into this guy? Stephen in North Dakota says 2009 Grey Cup, 13th man. We don't need to go there. We all know what happened there. Mine, okay, pause. I feel like this could take up the whole segment, so I stop. You have some Memorial Cup news, you said?
Oh, yeah, completely unrelated if you wanted to go there. And to give you a little taste on Peterborough, I didn't know this. So Owen Beck, who was Team Canada World Juniors, he plays for Peterborough. So does Brennan Othman for the Petes. But Owen Beck got a 2-game suspension in the OHL finals. He served one of those 2 games, still has 1 game left, but the suspension's been lifted. He's going to get to play in the Pete's first game of the Memorial Cup because NHL discipline takes over all disciplinary measures for the Memorial Cup. They reviewed it, decided he could only needed to serve one game. So Owen Beck's going to play, and a name you'd be familiar with the Petes.
Why does this stuff jar in my mind? And it is a Football Friday. It's interesting that you said that, but I don't know if I'll ever be that fan. I'd have to quit sports entirely, wait 10 years, and then try and get back into it because I know too much. And it's like, why do we talk about these things? Because they just make up the rules as they go along. Point being, 1998 Memorial Cup. Perry Shockey he normally would be watching right now, but we're not on in Lethbridge today. But because Brian Maxwell was suspended, the head coach and GM of the Hurricanes, all year for assaulting a referee, I was there. That might be the title of my book, my next book. I was there. Anyways, I was there when he assaulted, allegedly, the referee. Shocks comes in and coaches Lethbridge the whole next year to a WHL championship and the Memorial Cup Final. And whoever decides, Maxie can come back and coach for the final. Shocks is like, what? He coached all year, the whole tournament. And then they're like, Maxie served a suspension. Who does that?
And they lost.
Shocks, that gives a guy PTSD.
Oh, you wouldn't be able to rest in the grave with that on your conscience.
I'd have to go back and look. I think they lost to Ottawa. I'm pretty sure they lost to Ottawa. Okay. Back on point. From Arlen Bruce. Again, I was there. The reason I say that was because the other night when Jeff Chikrin was talking about the 2004 Grey Cup and taking his son Jacob, who's now a defenseman for the Ottawa Senators, he goes, I took him to the 2004 Grey Cup. I said, BC Toronto? I was there. There's so many of these instances. I was there. I was at everything. That was where Wally Buono outsmarted himself. And you historians try to refresh my memory because it was 20 years ago, but I believe Casey Printers had the great year and got the BC Lions to the Grey Cup, ended up being named MVP of the league, but Wally started Dave Dickinson in that Grey Cup because Dave was his guy, and they lost. Arlen Bruce, help me out. Do I have that right? AB3 writes in and says, two things, RP. One, Tom Brady bought stakes in the Vegas Raiders and a WNBA team in Vegas. And two, Aaron Rodgers sat out of OTAs with a strained calf. Should the Jets be concerned? Obviously not, but I appreciate you, AB, chiming in. No. Okay, can we institute? We're not going to talk about hockey discipline, particularly the NHL, and we're not going to talk about Aaron Rodgers and his drama queen penchant. He's a drama queen. Tired of him. Who was the football guy Ryan Getzlaff. I didn't have him on the air, but he said when we did that banquet together last month in Pence Sask, he goes, I'm a Packers fan, but I'm sick of Aaron Rodgers. I'm sick of glad he's gone. Bring on Jordan Love. Like Aaron Rodgers, go. And it must be a quarterback thing because Tom likes the drama too. Will he or won't he? And that's the other thing about eating crap. What's the all-time greatest sports, shoving it where the sun don't shine? I'm kind of building mine, but I'll tell you right now, as I'm talking to you, Tom Brady tried to buy the Montreal Alouettes. To my source, and you know who that source is, I'll swear on my mother's grave that my source told me that, whom I trust, and he's a Florida football guy who would know. A friend of Tom Brady's. Yeah. But whatever, everybody says, Rod's nuts. Rod doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm used to it. Anyways, to the CFL's most iconic photo, everybody wants to know what Clark said, and what he said in my ear. I can't. It's funny, but I can't. Can you look up the 1989 photo, Clark? We'll throw it up. This is my vote for the off the top of my head, this is the best photo. But Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, says the most iconic CFL photo, Elliot Trudeau doing the kickoff at the Grey Cup. That's a good one, but I can't vote for a Trudeau. Shane Mellinson says Dave Ridgway, the kick from 1989 Grey Cup. That would be mine right now. For absence of thinking of anything else, I need some ideas. Glenn in Medicine Hat says the picture of Dave Fleming of the Hamilton Tiger Cats clearly stepping out of bounds during the 1972 Grey Cup against Saskatchewan. The pre-video review era. See, that's the interesting thing is... Okay, thanks. That's the interesting thing is he was out of bounds. It wasn't even close. I saw it. That's the kick. I think... Certainly for me, yeah, looks even better now that I looked at it in person. It looks even better. Yeah, I think that's it. The size of the thighs on Ridgway, by the way. From Paul Jefferson, he says, from Paul Jefferson, that made me laugh out loud. Ceremonial Grey Cup kickoff, and he squibbed it. Didn't he mean to squib it? Trudeau? What a maroon. I'm sorry, did you come up with one?
Yeah, you got to remember when you're thinking of these, and I'm glad you put the Ridgway photo up because that's an iconic photo. I've seen that photo before. We got to think of the photo, not the moment, right? Because a lot of the moments we're in our minds, we're seeing the video of it. The first photo that came to mind for me was the photo after the Grey Cup. It was Doug Flutie had won it with Toronto, and he's holding the Grey Cup, and the confetti's coming down. I think he had the turtleneck on. Is that what he wore? For me, that's the photo that stands out to me.
From the audience, some good ones. Well, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says he can't think of any that aren't Stampeders photos, and the audience has asked him to please step outside his Stampeders bubble. Have you realized he just can't? Darren and I talk about this all the time. He can't step out of his bubble because he doesn't want to step out of his bubble. But I've accepted that, and we accept him anyways. He can't see anything. There's a lot of people like that. I don't know what the term of it is because I'm not a psychologist, but it's an issue that Jeff the Stamps fan has. He can't see outside anything Stamps related, CFL related. It's cool. He just can't put any stock in things that he says. Rider fans are the same. Jeff the Stamps fan says Rocco Romano on the horse holding the Grey Cup in 1998. Absolutely. I remember it. I don't know if you do, Darren. From WQEE, Ryan O'Radio. He says, FYI, a little hockey news. Fight legends Mike Tyson, Ric Flair joined Ty Domi supporting the Stars at Game 4. Yeah, I got this. I got to go back and check my phone here. You know Craig Campbell from the Hockey Hall of Fame? Folks, you will see him within a couple of weeks handing out the Stanley Cup. He's one of the guys. You all know Phil Pritchard because of his hair. But you need to meet Craig, too, because they're brothers in arms, those two. He's in Dallas. And Craig writes me and goes, Florida has Rod Pedersen. Here in Dallas, we have Mike Tyson and Ric Flair. I texted him back, you win. That's from Craig from the Hockey Hall of Fame. We'll be seeing him soon.
Yes.
Regarding the 2004 Grey Cup, AB says, absolutely correct, 100%. Wally screwed it up. Wally out-thought himself. Out-thunk himself, as they say. Kevin the Medium says it has to be Lou kicking the winning pick. I'm sure he meant kick. 1994 Grey Cup. It was awesome. 1994 Grey Cup. I watched it in Prince Albert in my living room. Canada versus USA. BC versus Baltimore. Down with those dastardly Americans. Game-winning field goal off the foot of Lou Pasaglia, or as Brian Hall called him, Lou Pasalia. Right through the uprights. And in the video, if you go back and watch it, there's a Canadian flag waving right between the uprights. This is universe stuff, you know? From Bombers 1985, he says, Milt Stegall after he broke the all-time touchdown record. Milt Stegall, touchdown Regal. Who doesn't remember that? I think Milt Stegall should be remembered for this. The Winnipeg Hooters is on Milt Stegall Way.
How about that?
That's what I want to be. That's what I want to be
stuff,
remembered
man.
for. Yeah, exactly. From Wayne in BC, maybe I would pick the picture of people pulling the head of someone out of the mud in the mud bowl. From Jeff in Winnipeg, he says, Angelo Mosca, bleeding forehead while getting the Grey Cup. From Arlen Bruce III, he says, Rocket Ishmael. Which one? Him winning the Grey Cup or being signed to $1 million? First ever $1 million player in the Canadian Football League was one, Raghib Ishmael. In 2004, DA, whatever, I can't. Musa, are we going to see you in overtime?
Yeah, I'll be back.
Okay. We will return in a moment. Maybe Craig Smith, iconic football guy, two-time Grey Cup champion, will have some thoughts on this. The most iconic CFL photo of all time, what is it? Let us know. We'll be back in a moment. Game Plus Television, WQEE Radio in Atlanta, podcast and streaming.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Selection, service, price, parts, and knowledge. That's the Woody's RV World difference. With 7 locations in Western Canada, there's always one nearby. Visit us today or at woodysrv.com. If adventure awaits, Woody's RV World is with you all the way.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Business owners and marketers, Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Gorgeous day in South Florida. They all are. But it's a football Friday, and I just want to clarify as ahead of we bring in our head scout, Craig Smith. Randy Nickel's watching in beautiful Cochrane, Alberta. Randy Nickel, longtime TV guy and restaurateur. He says, our question was, in case anybody missed it, what's the most iconic photo ever taken in CFL history? Randy says, on the 902 line, CFL's biggest moment from my perspective would be the fumble from Leon McQuay in the 1971 Grey Cup, letting the Stamps win over the Argos 14-11. Joe Theismann was quarterback for Toronto. That probably was, but is there a great photo of it? It didn't immediately come to mind. There are some great photos. Is there a photo of that? We're talking about the best photo, like Ken Dryden leaning on his stick, like Bobby Orr flying through the air. Craig Smith has to. Two-time Grey Cup champion. The guy has seen this continent from ear to ear. Hey, Smitty, welcome. You're looking very pensive and thoughtful. Have you come to a decision on this?
Well, as soon as I heard what you were talking about, the very first thing that I thought about was the kick. I was in the stands, and I'm sure you were as well, and watched that. It was one of the best Grey Cup games that we've ever had. Tony Champion's catch, and then they drove down. They had to, make some important first downs to get the ball down into the field goal range, and that was incredible. And of course, how many years was it that Saskatchewan hadn't won? It was way back. Was it 66 to
23.
89? Yeah. So it was pretty special, and that was quite the play, quite the picture.
It's hilarious. Yeah, hilarious you say that. I guess I'm not as old as some people think, because Bob Poley asked me if I was on the plane home from that game with the team. I'm like, Bob, I was in high school. I was in my cousin's basement of her farmhouse, Nancy, watching the game. I was in grade 10, grade 11, whatever. So, yeah, the kick is getting a lot of votes, and trust me, I get it. Smitty, as we really get into the CFL preseason here this weekend, what are you going to be watching for in your mind?
Well, just like I would normally, I like watching the new guys and see how the new guys do. It's different, especially the first games, because they're playing a lot of players. They're not playing their starters. You just want to see guys who are in there. And like last weekend, I looked and I made a bunch of notes with regards to players and stuff like that, and saw some real, some good young kids. And saw some, Calgary's running back. The kid is just phenomenal. I can't think of the name right now, but he is something special. So that's what I would look at. I look at a lot of, again, players. I'm always looking at players, and it's kind of funny. I can't watch a game like a normal person anymore. I'm always watching something like, how's the left tackle, how's the quarterback, how's his accuracy, all these different types of things. But I don't care. I mean, that's what I've done for 20 years, and so and I'm really happy that they're streaming. It really disappoints me that they didn't televise more. They said that they were going to do 4, and then all of a sudden they dropped 2 of them, and I'm thinking, why are you doing that? What's the deal? They are streaming them, and I didn't mind the stream last week. For me, it was easy to get on, and watched it. It was like I've been streaming a lot, with regard. I got the first 2 games of the Ice Thunderbird series. Paid for that, and it's streamed, and same with obviously Goops and the Canada West. I got that, so I've been streaming a fair bit, and it's not like a regular TSN production where you get all the different cameras, but at least you're getting to see. And they do have a wide angle, so you get to see a fair bit. It's a lot tougher to watch defense I'm an offensive guy, so I watch a lot of the offense, and it's Kadeem Carey is the guy. Just came to me, but So obviously, I'm very happy. Tonight. Obviously, it's going to be on TV. Tomorrow, it's bang, bang, bang. There's 3 games, and I've been around the league for 20 years. I've got a lot of friends all over the place, and a lot of coaches that I'm looking, to looking to they can have some success. So, it's going to be interesting to see what's going on. This first week is a little different. Next week it'll be a little better, and then bang, we get into the season.
Well, I got a question for you. Jeff the Stamps fan, by the way, he says Dedrick Mills might be the running back.
He's a good one.
And he says, Stampeders' running game will be epic in 2023. Call me a biased homer if you want. Jeff, you're a biased homer.
Oh.
But, Smitty, because you've been with so many teams, let me ask you this. How much do they care about winning at all in the preseason?
You always want to win, but you want to win with the guys that you want to look at. And if you remember a preseason game where we had O'Sullivan as the quarterback, and then we had Bamba as the receiver, and he threw that pass into the end zone, and he made a play, and that was fantastic. But we were looking at players, and that's what you're doing. I mean, you have to look at the players that you brought in to see, and that's the sad part about the CFL is, man, we'll just look. The 2 teams that just played on Monday, they had a week of training camp, and then bam, they're into it. So it's very difficult for rookies to do anything to make an impression and to make the club. And then if you get hurt, you're done. But you're trying to evaluate talent. You're trying to look at players in your scheme and see how they fit, and do they have what you thought that they had when you looked at their film, or you worked them out and all that thing. So I mean, it's nice to win, but I don't think any coach is going to, we lost, but you know what? We got to look at guys, and now we can make decisions and take it from there.
Well, they say, too, being hurt is you won't have a chance to make the team, no. What if you throw 4 interceptions? You're probably done, or fumble the ball.
Yeah.
I just remember, there's got to be some cases where a guy, no matter what he does, has made the team. I've seen that happen before. Ricky Collins with the 2016 Rough Riders comes to mind. Is there some guys, hotshot American rookies, or even Canadian rookies for that matter, Smitty, that he's making the team no matter what he does in the preseason?
I think so. I think especially, the Canadian college draft kids that come in, as long as the thought process is we're not going to send them back, we're going to keep them. Essentially those guys, if you think about when we drafted Ben Heenan, he wasn't going anywhere. So guys like that, I think that certainly is a possibility, where guys will stick and, they'll be there. And you'll give guys that even some of the Americans that come up, you're very, very high on, you'll give them a lot of opportunities to so-called screw up, but give them the opportunity, and you're high on them, like I said, and let them get reps and all that kind of stuff. And it's just, training camp is so interesting because it's so intense. The practices, there's so many different things, a lot of film to look at, a lot of evaluation, and then you combine it all, and then the day before you got to cut down, and that's a horrible day. First time I ever cut a player, he cried and didn't make me feel very good, but that's the reality of the business.
A real quick one. We have less than a minute. Who's going to be in the Grey Cup, Smitty? Tim Hortons Field in November.
I would say Winnipeg, and everybody, all the other teams are going to be screaming and texting and saying, what are you talking about? But I think Winnipeg and the East, man, I've been looking at the rosters, and that's really tough. I mean, Hamilton, there's so many different things that'll go into it. How is Bo Levi going to do? They've got a solid team. They got Butler there as a running game, and you know how much I love that running game. Championship teams that I've been on, we've all had really good running attacks. That's why Jeff, the Stamps fan, he makes a good point with Kadeem Carey is probably one of the best running backs. I mean, they got a shot. Everybody's got a shot right now, but how can you go against the Bombers with those receivers that they have? They brought in, and guys took pay cuts to come. Like I was shocked because Bailey signed, and I was told by somebody that he wasn't coming back. So, but he came back.
I apologize, but we got to run. We had less than a minute. I just wanted two teams, but that's it. Smitty, thank you, appreciate it. We got to come back for overtime right after this and a sports update too. The Moose will rejoin. We're live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, podcast, and streaming.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. DDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
It's overtime, presented by the Four Seasons Sports Palace, your home for the UFC and the Stanley Cup playoffs. And just before we bring the Moose in, a sports update. After a thrilling West Conference Finals decided last weekend, the defending champion Colorado Mammoth is taking on the East champs, the Buffalo Bandits, for the NLL Cup National Lacrosse League for the second year in a row. Buffalo's in their third straight finals appearance, looking to redeem their finals loss to the Mammoth last season. Game 1, Saturday night. It's on ESPNU and TSN, main network. Game 1. Game 2, Monday night, ESPN2 and TSN. And Game 3, if necessary, is next Saturday, June 3rd, ESPN Plus and TSN. Best of 3 NLL Championship begins Saturday night. Colorado Buffalo for the second straight year. Sports update brought to you by Landmark Cinemas. In theaters June 9th. Transformer, Rise of the Beasts. Okay, the Moose is here. We did have a little talk this morning with our friend Eric at Brooklyn Whataburger, the place we brought you, Moose. We talked about how nice it would be to have a National Lacrosse League team here in South Florida. Oh, my God. Do you, as a guy that you have worked in the NLL, do you think it would work?
Yeah, why not? I mean, it's working in San Diego, I believe, right? And that's a great market. I think when you can get destinations like that, it's going to create great road trips, and the players are going to love it. Again, no matter where you are in North America, the travel's not really too big of an issue. It really isn't. Guys are flying in, they're crisscrossing the country anyways. So I think the more you can be in premier markets like, you know, the Miami area would be great. You're in San Diego, you're in Vegas now, you got the New York area, Toronto, Vancouver. You got all these major cities. It would make sense to be in South Florida.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You just talk about the major cities. Like, there was a time, I know for a fact, that my hometown, Regina, was looking at an NLL expansion franchise, and the league actually considered it for a minute, and then now they're not. And now it's, as you say, Vegas, San Diego, Philadelphia at the time, Fort Worth.
Yeah.
And I think here, FLA Live Arena, home of the Panthers, they got tons of room, tons of dates. I think it could happen. Let's make it happen. Phoenix could have it happen too. But you have to understand something, folks. In life, there's a wave. It's a parallel. When you try to ride that wave, you need to get on that wave. Because eventually that wave is going to peter out. You need to get on the wave. The window does not stay open forever. And Regina and the ownership of the Pats missed the window. They gone. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, had a question for Smitty. We'll try to answer it if we can. He said, does one play make or break guys given the preseason, or generally does a lot need to go wrong? And Jeff, the Stamps fan, did a good job of answering that. He said, Nelson, yes, Jeff Garcia, 1994, made the Calgary Stampeders based on the final drive of the last preseason game in BC Place. They were ready to cut him until that. And that's a fact. That's what's fun about sports. That's what particularly is fun about the Canadian Football League. Stories like this. And Roy Shivers talked about that story a lot because Roy went from Calgary to us in Saskatchewan in 2000, and he would sit and say that, yeah, we were going to cut Garcia till that last drive. We're going to cut his ass, send him home. He ends up making the team and goes on to stardom. You know, so that's what's exciting about this weekend, man. And if you don't get it, you're never going to get it. I don't feel like you could explain that to somebody, Darren.
No, really tough. When you're sitting around the boardroom table going through your cuts and you're convincing guys, you know, why this guy should be in, why I think we should cut that guy. You know, it's all about what do you remember about the players. And we can look at the numbers and say, like, well, he's caught 80% of his passes. Well, he did this, and I see my charts and everything. But if my memory is of a drop, and that's what I think about with that receiver, I probably am not thinking about keeping him. If it's a big play or a big catch, and that's what comes to mind, I'll probably think a little more favorably. So little plays here and there really do matter.
By the way, we should update the poll question before we bid everybody adieu heading into Memorial Day weekend. The poll question for Key Auto Group. The all-new Sportage reimagines innovation in motion and urban SUV design with all the comforts for your next adventure. Order yours today at KeyYorktonKia.com or by calling 306-783-2772. The 2023 Kia Sportage, movement that inspires. Will Antonio Brown ever play in the NFL again? 92% saying no. He done. And the reason 75 on YouTube, Park tells me, saying no, Antonio Brown's done. Why are we even talking about it? It's because he's going to suit up this weekend for the Albany Empire in the National Arena Football League, if that's what it is, the NAFL, or the NIFL, the National Indoor Football League. I'm not sure which one it is, but at least we're talking about them. That's why they do these sort of pub stunts, these gimmicky things. By the way, I should mention, Darren, before we go any further, folks, heading into the weekend, Woody's RV World presents the summer football road trip. Come join us in Calgary, Saskatchewan at Calgary, CFL action, June 24th. Bus trip presented by Engelheim and Woody's RV World. And if you purchase an RV in the next month at Woody's RV World, any one of their locations, they'll do a BOGO trip for you. All you got to do is buy one ticket. And this trip now stopping in Saskatoon to pick up Rider fans there. You can message us for more information or go to rodpeterson.com. We've been talking about it for a few weeks now, so all the details are there. Moose, any final thoughts? The floor is yours.
Rolling Rivers, baby. He's my guy going into the weekend.
Rolling.
And that song?
Rolling down the rivers. Well, that's another show. Kurt Warner put the Arena Football League on the map. Iowa Barnstormers, right? Who was Kurt Warner? Bagging groceries until John Gregory and the Iowa Barnstormers found him and put him. All these stories are great. We've just given you a reason to watch the CFL this weekend. CFL, you're welcome. Thanks, Moose.
Thank you.
Stay safe out there, for God's sakes. Enjoy Moose Jaw. We'll see you Monday, noon Eastern.
Who has more fun than us?